Man, there are a lot of movies about haunted insane asylums. So we're talking about 2013's Dark Feed. Now this is a obviously low budget horror film, and as I've mentioned, it takes place in a haunted asylum. This isn't a found footage film like a lot of these tend to be, but it is quite a sort of basic premise. And what we've got here is a film crew who are actually filming their own sort of movie, and they're using this kind of old abandoned hospital as a really a location for this kind of horror film that they're shooting. So we've got the whole film crew there in cast, and really we follow the story of this writer, the writer of the movie, who sort of has a set visit, and basically we kind of really see it from his point of view. And it turns out this hospital has got a dark past, as we'd expect here. And we're told a little bit of exposition about the director of this hospital killed himself, and apparently he was doing some kind of experimentation on the patients using the kind of water filtration system. And we see a lot of this kind of dark fluid kind of going around. We guess that's kind of some kind of supernatural entity. And there's a prologue in the beginning of this movie with a girl with a pierced lip. I have no idea what relevance that has, I've got to say, because it doesn't appear to be the film crew. Don't know about that, but hey, that could be cut out, to be honest. Now, we basically follow this sort of film crew, various different sort of crew members we're introduced to, and they kind of get a little bit of sort of flavour of their personality, which I kind of quite liked. And as the film progresses, kind of supernatural stuff starts to happen, and it kind of the growing influence, this sort of dark force starts affecting this film crew and the cast, and we see it affect people in sort of different ways. And eventually, obviously, it kind of starts to have this sort of malevolent presence, and it really starts to sort of act more violently. Now, I say it affects people differently. Some people it kind of possesses, other people it sort of out and out kills. And we kind of really just follow this dwindling group of survivors. So they kind of try and escape this evil presence. So it is not an original kind of idea, really. We have seen this movie this premise a few times before. What's it actually like? I actually thought this was quite a good film, to have to say, but it's not going to be for everyone. So the first thing I would point out with this film, it's quite a slow moving film. There's lots of atmosphere building here, but not huge amounts of kind of payoff until the last sort of quarter of this movie, I have to say. I guess the criticism can be levelled at it. It's called Dark Feed, but the actual lighting in this film is very, very dim. So it's pretty much all set in one night. So there isn't a lot of light in this movie. So it kind of makes it a little bit hard to see sometimes what's going on. I mean, it adds to the ambience, but ultimately some people may be put off by that because sometimes it is a little bit hard to see what's actually going on. And as I've mentioned, it does move at a little bit of a kind of slow pace, but to me, I actually quite liked it because it does build up this very kind of this dread feeling, this kind of like this dark presence, and we sort of see these effects, kind of like this darkness kind of going through the walls, which admittedly isn't a fantastic special effects, and there's not a lot of actual effects in this movie, but I think what they use fairly sparingly does quite a good job. Now, the cover of this movie makes it look like it's going to be some kind of Silent Hill type movie with like zombie nurses, like we've seen in Silent Hill. It really isn't. That's just one sort of character in this kind of movie, so don't be thinking that's what this kind of movie is going to be about. It's a lot more of an unseen force more than anything else. But it does do a good job of kind of building this tension. The music isn't great, I have to be honest. It kind of maybe sort of works against the film in certain instances. The acting seems quite natural, I have to say. I thought it was not too bad. I mean, it does seem a lot of this dialogue seems to may have been improvised because people kind of just seem like they're kind of just naturally talking, which is, on one hand, it seems quite good. There are maybe a couple of instances where obviously maybe delivered not quite as well, but for the most part, I thought it all seemed pretty natural. Overall, I actually quite enjoyed this film. I don't think it's a film that I would watch multiple times, but for a horror movie with this kind of this sort of very kind of creepy effects, very kind of atmospheric, not huge amounts of payoff. Yes, it does remind me very much of things like Grave Encounters and Real Evil, even though it isn't a found footage film. But if you like those films, I actually think you'll get a kick out of this movie. I'm actually going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I did quite enjoy it. I should just go and check it out if you kind of like your haunted sort of films. If you're into gore fests and stuff, you maybe be less keen on this one. If you like more of your sort of supernatural slow builds, go check it out. 7 out of 10 for me. What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I look forward to the next time. Bye for now.